We've been advocates for broadband for the last 15 years, doing studies and getting grants to do programs across all 3 counties, really advocating, helping the state do their studies as they're doing them now, as they're preparing for their release, hopefully in 2024, of additional funding that will be utilized throughout the region. And I know I'm talking pretty fast and covering a lot, and there'll be time for questions, obviously, at the end. The next page is our affiliates. So we started in the mid-'80s creating these not-for-profit organizations that could help us do different programming across the region. So one of the ones that has been around the longest is the STIDO, the Southern Tier Enterprise Development Organization. This is our revolving loan fund. We have about $2.6 million in assets right now. We have 29 active loans. We created it in 1984, so it's been around and it's grown substantially in the last five or 6 years. We've really taken that initiative. Before it was mainly federal funded. Now we added some state funding on top of it to be able to focus on some key areas. So each one of these organizations has a separate board of directors. Some of you have served on the board of directors of these organizations, and we appreciate your volunteer time. For STIDO, Gretchen was on there for quite a number of years. The Southern West Development Foundation was created in the mid-'90s. This was a dream of our past director to have a foundation, a 501c3, where we could leverage funds and do different things with it. We've created 42 grants to communities throughout the entire 3 counties with the funding that that foundation has been able to garner and then pass through. To date, we've given out $1.2 million. And some of that has really leveraged new programming. And I'll talk about that in a second as well. The Southern Tier West Business Resource Center is a corporation that we set up to own the building that we're in. And technically, we're in the town of Great Valley, but we're a Salamanca address. So when we built that building in 1999, we envisioned light manufacturing, BOCES, as well as our offices and some other commercial space up top. In 2001, that took a dramatic change when there was a real upheaval in Salamanca with the healthcare system. So now our building is doctor's offices, BOCES, and some commercial space up top for us. So even though it sort of shifted its focus, I think it filled the need that was really needed within that area. We have a blood draw station in that building that sees between 70 and 100 people per day. So we're pretty happy that we can help out with that. STERA, which is the Southern Tier Extension Rail Authority, was created in 2000. So we own the railroad from Corey, Pennsylvania to Hornell, New York. So it runs through Chautauqua, Cattaraugus, Allegheny, and Steuben County. We also own a portion of the railroad that runs from the state line through Portville up to Machias. We then sublease that to Norfolk Southern, who then subleases that to the operator Western New York and Pennsylvania Railroad. That lease goes through 2028 currently, so that'll more than likely be renegotiated before then, and I think would be extended. During that 22, 23-year history, we've worked to get grants that total over $21 million in capital investments on that rail line. So it's been pretty active. I know there's always discussion. When I was here a little bit earlier, people were talking about the train that went through the county a couple of weeks ago and the pictures that were taken. So, and we know and we wish that there was more activity in Allegheny County, and we're always working with Western New York and Pennsylvania to see what we can do to help that out. The newest affiliate for us anyways is NYSOG, which is the New York Sustainable Agriculture Working Group. It was originally created in 1991, nothing to do with us. It was going to sunset, and we assumed control of it in 2017. We redid the board and took over the audit and the IRS workings for that. And this is a direct result of the Southern Tier West Development Foundation. So in 2000, when everything sort of happened with COVID, The foundation was given $500,000 to do a regional 9-county study of food policy and food working from ground to table. So from the growers and the producers to the resellers and the packaging and the hub work to the consumers. And so we did that, and out of that, we were able to leverage 1.3 million dollars in funding from the Moving Forward Together Fund out of Buffalo, working with the Community Foundation of Greater Buffalo. So that's a 2-year funding cycle, so that ends mid-2025. We've been able to hire on 3 additional staff for that affiliate. So a lot of work is being done. If anyone has any interest in food policy, we more than welcome you to join working groups or the leadership team that covers the 9 counties. And if you're really interested, we can, talk about board seats because we're in the process of still filling out that board. So those are the affiliates that Southern Tier West works with. So the way it works is all of these affiliates pay an admin fee to Southern Tier West for staff time to help cover our time. It sort of ebbs and flows based on lots of factors, but it's something that we see as important to the region. It helps us out with matching funds for our federal grants, and it really is productive. So, and then the last page is my contact information, my email, and my direct phone line to the office. Well, I guess it's not direct phone line, but phone line to the office with my direct extension. So feel free to give me a call if you have any additional questions after today, or you want to sit down and talk about more in depth with everything. So that's who we are. So we've been around for 54 years. We have right now 11 staff members. We're based out of Salamanca, but our staff lives throughout the region, Chautauqua County, Cattaraugus County. We've had people in Allegheny County, but this time we don't currently. We meet the 3rd Thursday of every month as far as our board meeting. So if you are wanting to come over, you can talk to Keir. Maybe he can hitch a ride with him and have a good conversation along the way. And yeah, I appreciate your time. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
I'll get us going here. So can you describe, what do we have as far as Allegheny County representation on the Southern Tier West Board and then on some of these affiliate organizations?
So the Southern Tier West Board is made up of 16 members. So 5 members from each county and 1 member from the Seneca Nation of Indians. This is all prescribed by state legislation back around 1969. So the representatives from Allegheny County on the Southern Tier West Board are Keir Durlam, Carissa Knapp, Craig Clark, Deb Root, and Jerry Scott. On the STITO board, since I'm not dealing with this every day, this gets a little more interesting. Gretchen was on the board for the longest time. Jeff Stager from Allegheny County is on the board. And then we have a couple of bankers. I'm not sure if they're based in Allegheny County or not, so I'll sort of leave it at Jeff Stager. On the Southern Tier West Development Foundation, that's a small board, so there's only 3 members on that, and there's no representatives from Allegheny County. The STARE Authority was created by state authority back in 2000, so that is made up of 3 representatives from each of the counties. So 3 from Chautauqua County, 3 from Cattaraugus, 3 from Allegheny, and 3 from Steuben, and 1 from Southern Tier West, so it's a 13-member board. The 3 from Allegheny County, oh goodness, Mr. Barnes is is on the board. I'm trying to think of
Mr. Havey, and then I can't remember the third.
Mr. Havey, and Jerry Scott is also on that board. Sorry.
This is like high pressure here, isn't it?
I know.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's all good. NYSOG is a new board. So that one so Joan Petson is on that board. She lives in Cuba. Lynn Bliven is on that board as well. She works at the Allegheny County Cooperative Extension. And then we have other board members from the Buffalo area. So, so I think that's all our boards. And then the Southern Tier West, we Business Resource Center is a small board as well, of just a couple members to help to make sure that it functions. So
I guess I'll give you guys that are on the Southern Tier West Board opportunity. Anything you want to add? Anything on your experiences with the board? Any praise you want to pour on its executive director or anything like that?
Well, I think you did a very good job explaining it, because when I first got on the board and didn't have a presentation like this, it took me a while to figure out all the stuff and everything that you did and how it touched all the towns and communities in the three boards. So you did a great job today. I've enjoyed being on the board. I feel like we actually accomplish things and get things done, and we're actually making a difference to a lot of these communities. So I think it's a very important board to participate in, be active in, and seeing the results of what they do. I think we should be happy that we have such a strong Southern Tier West board in our area.
So I know Kier's office does a really good job of getting Southern Tier West information and opportunities to the municipalities. How are we doing as a county? And I'm not throwing anybody on the bus here, but I feel like maybe we don't, as a county, do a great job of letting individuals know the opportunities in like STIDO or the Development Foundation. How do we improve doing that outreach?
So for STIDO, I think we have the partnerships in line for that. So the bankers on the board that we have, as well as Accord Corporation, really have a lot of feelers into the communities. The only other thing I think you could do is just work with, and it's happening, so I just crossed my mind. So in the end of October, there are 2 community outreaches that are being done by the SBDC that we're participating in. One's in Fillmore, and one I believe is one in Cuba. So I think it's just working with the organizations that are doing it to encourage them to do those community outreaches to sort of let the people know. And I think it's recognizing that you don't need to have 40 or 50 people there for it to be successful. If you have 3 or 4 people that are really going to sort of take that knowledge and do something with it, then that's a win. Other than that, Kier's great with his Facebook. We have our own Facebook thing that we participate in. We do a lot of outreach through the clerks associations. So we do a lot of mailings out through that. Sarah Fiersdorf from our staff will attend any clerks associations that occur. So I think those are the ways that we do that. But I think the other way is just, inviting us to come over. And I think this is gonna just hopefully just percolate through the communities that there are opportunities and there are things that we might be able to assist with. And like I said, there's not a perfect timing for every community, but when they're ready, then they should know that the services will be there for us to help them.
Jen?
I just want to ask a general question. Like, I get that you work with the towns, but what about a community organization? Could they also reach out to you, and would that be appropriate, or should they go through the town or village?
So we've worked with community organizations. So we do the 64 websites, and then we probably do 6 or 7 community websites. Whether they be comprehensive planning committees or beautification committees or some other things, so they can come directly to us. We work with some other associations on trainings. So I think there are some opportunities for us to partner, but there's not a large amount. But they can obviously call us and we'll have a conversation with them. I think one of the things that we are pretty capable of is the networking. Like, we might be at the right phone call, but the next phone call we tell you to make will be the right phone call. It's not, we hope it's the right one and figure it out 3 later. So that's what I would encourage.
Deb?
At one time, you had a program that worked with local cemeteries.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and they weren't just towns and villages that the cemetery zone, but the cemetery associations and helping them with their records and all of that. So you had some funding out there or a grant that you went out and helped those. So that's
Yeah, so we've done some records management for cemeteries, and then we actually GIS'd some of the cemeteries, so we could work to put them online, because one of the time-consuming things for clerks was to work with the communities or the cemeteries that they've assumed, and then have people call them and say, I'm doing some work, and my great-great-grandfather's in this cemetery, can you tell me where he's buried? And this way they can search by name on a few of them. Like we worked with Cuba and Angelica in this county.
Mike?
Thank you, Chairman. What kind of entity is Southern Tier West? Is it NGO or
So Southern Tier West is a quasi-municipality formed under Article 12B of New York State municipal law. So basically, we are under the rules and regulations of the towns and villages, but we have no ability to do the things that the towns and villages do, meaning taxation and other sorts of land ownership and stuff like that. In fact, we're prohibited from owning land.
And my other question was, your financial report you get included here. Would it be possible to get a more detailed, copy of your budget for the year?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep,
Could you get that out to all of us? Just
sure.
Yeah, maybe send it to Brenda and she can forward it on or something like that.
Yeah, it's not a problem.
Okay, thanks, Rich.
thank you.
Dwight?
Yeah, as a town, we had Southern Tier come in and do a record management, and they're very, very helpful. So I would just like to make a suggestion that the county should try to look into that process that you have for that. So, thank you. You're doing a great job, Richard. I don't know how you remember all that stuff, but it's fantastic.
Thanks, Dwight.
I don't think we would be so unkind to Richard to unload our records management situation onto him. But, we made our mess, we'll lie on it. Gretchen?
Thanks for going over all the things that you do. I just kind of want to reiterate, I'm more familiar with STITO, as I think I was on about 10 years and president of that organization. But the amount of work and the loans that have been given out during that tenure that I'm familiar with really have been quite helpful in economic development. And the thing is we've had some from Allegheny County come over, but they still are loans, so you still have to have some skin in it. So, thinking that we don't have enough loans, although we do in Allegheny County, there's procedures and there's things that they need to have in there. But I think it's getting more and more used by Allegheny County, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the exact numbers, but I would say of the 29 loans out there, at least a third are in Allegheny County.
Good. That's good. And it was something that I learned a lot from all the bankers, and probably from years past when I was part of Accord. We did have financial institution, we did loans, and we did the revolving loan for Allegheny County at that time too. So it was part of the reasons why I think I went that direction, but they do a tremendous job, and I did learn a lot from being on there, so thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Demick's got something, then we'll do Mike.
I would just like to reiterate that, it's a well-known fact that your assets to the communities are not well-known. And we've always struggled with that, to know that you're available and all the things. I've worked with Southern Tier West for decades. Been involved with a lot of things. We did a joint grant with them from the Highway Association, an ARC grant that put computers in every highway shop in Allegheny County. It was during the time of the transition from low band radios to high band radios. We were able to put a base and a mobile out in high band for every municipality. And this all included computer training, radio training, the step up for all of that. We've done so many different trainings over the years that, and I'm not sure everybody understands that they're all there and are capable of helping with this stuff. I would like to see that better well known, but, I've thanked them for years. They've been a great asset to me. So thanks, Rich.
Thank you, Fred.
Yeah, I think you guys do pretty well outreaching to the Highway Association, right? Like, I know you've had people come in and do at least presentations, I remember, on the GIS
Yes.
opportunities and that kind of thing. Mike, do you have some?
No, thank you, Fred. That's one of the things I was going to mention, the big help you've been with our communication system overall the first year I was on the board. And you're holding up pretty well because you don't look that much older, and that was quite a few years ago. You helped us acquire our first new 911 tower in quite a while right here on Ackerman Hill. And also, as Fred mentioned, the radio for the bases and things for the town highway departments. So, thank you.
Yeah, that was a great partnership.
Jan?
Just to go back on what Fred was saying, also with the towns, I'm also a town clerk, and Sarah's been phenomenal working with the town clerks, and she has come to our association meetings. But the records management grants that were available and the scanning of all the old records was just done very professionally, and they made in a timely way, and it's been very helpful. And I know, talking to other clerks that have taken advantage of it, it's been very helpful. And there's been other things that they've done over the years it's just wouldn't have been available if it weren't for you guys, so thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Stockin?
Yeah, I just want to do a shout out for your Southern Tier West Conference at Houghton University every spring. It's been valuable in my early days as a town supervisor. And if people don't know, they have tracks for highway, for water, sewer, for zoning, for all of these things. And you can get an education, we call them CEUs, the continuing courses that you have to take for certain certifications. They offer them there. And it's just it's one of the most comprehensive things that you can go to around here for all municipalities. Wonderful program.
Thanks. Yeah, so typically we have 9 different tracks for different either board members or general information, planning, zoning, and as Mr. Stockton pointed out, so we have like 36 to 40 classes during that day, so.
Mr. Barnes?
Yeah, are there other organizations around the state that are doing exactly the same thing that you are?
Yes, there are 10 regional planning boards across the state. So Southern Tier West, Southern Tier Central, and Southern Tier East, are now called Southern Tier 8, are all in the Appalachian Regional Commission region. And so we get the funding from that agency that the other ones don't, but there's the Genesee Finger Lakes, Capital District, Central New York, and Herkimer Oneida, Lake George Champlain, and Hudson Valley.
Is there anything comparable to the ARC for like any of the counties north and east of us that aren't in the ARC region?
Yes, I think, I don't know exactly when it was, in 2017, 2018, they created the Northern Border Commission. So the Northern Border Commission runs from like Rochester across the northern swath of New York, across the northern half of Vermont, New Hampshire. It's run a little bit differently than ARC is, but the concept's the same and the funding is similar, where it goes through Department of State and then to the communities.
And similar funding, like in dollar amount?
No. So ARC's been very fortunate to have some strong advocates from Kentucky on our side. So the ARC funding traditionally was in the mid-70s, like 72 million. Right now it's at 240 million per year. The Northern Border Commission, I believe their funding is closer to 10 or 12 million a year.
So I'm going to put you on the spot, Tim, because I kind of need this unpacked too. But we've been leveraging Delta Development to assist us in some of the technical work on the IIJA funding opportunities through ARC, but they channel through Southern Tier West. Is that how this is working? So they're assisting us, I don't know, whoever wants to take it. They're assisting us with the technical aspect of the grant applications?
Delta is preparing the application and has submitted it through Felive in Richard's office. So they will be the conduit. So what Delta will be doing is submitting the application. They will be then following through and implementing, making sure that we meet all the necessary guidelines, assisting in the drawdown and keeping us compliant with that whole process. they also have their fingers on the pulse of other ARC opportunities that may come up that we could work through Southern Tier West with, particularly the ARISE program where we're talking about the Rural Healthcare Initiative that would also channel through Dr. Zink's operation, unless I'm mistaken.
Dr. Palmer, I am not a doctor.
Okay, okay. I thought, so for some reason, Richard, I thought you had a doctor with you. Anyhow, so that's how that would work. So they really assist us in identifying where opportunities, funding opportunities would be, following through with that, then going through with the grant application process and working in conjunction with organizations like Southern Tier West and again, if we're looking at congressional opportunities, working through the state where we may need to rely in some fashion, form or fashion, with Southern Tier West. But they're really they're the clearinghouse for some of those grants and opportunities, and would find out what it is we need to do and what the application process is, then move that forward. Things that we don't, as a county, have the opportunity personnel-wise, and to some extent, I don't want to undersell our expertise, but they work with this on a day in, day out basis, and it frees up our staff to then do additional situations, applications.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks. Anything else for Richard? You kind of did get praise, a lot of praise today, so I guess we were overdue to have the opportunity to talk to you and let you know how much we appreciate what Southern Tier West does for Allegheny County, and get, like I said, a refresher on just what it is, what's available, and everything you do for us and for the rest of the Southern Tier. So thank you for coming over, and thanks for all you do.
Yeah, not a problem. And thank you for all the kind words, and I hope we can continue for many years to come.
Thanks, Richard. What's the pleasure of the board? You want to take 5 before we get into these little, it's not a big agenda the rest of the way. You want to take 5 and then reconvene? Okay, let's do that.